On this channel, we've ranked all the coasters that ever existed at Six Flags Magic Mountain. We broke them all down by the numbers. And today, we're going to take that next step and look at the best element on each coaster. These are the highlights of each ride, the whippiest, the floatiest, the craziest element on every coaster. And after we identify these moments, we have to compare them to each other to find out which one is the best of the best. These are the coasters of Magic Mountain's best elements, ranked from worst to best. Magic Mountain has 4 kids coasters, and I couldn't identify a best moment for Magic Flyer, Roadrunner Express, or Speedy Gonzales Hot Rod Racers. Canyon Blaster is a little different, having a wild airtime hill finale before turning back into the station. You don't really get airtime on this, but it really jerks you around over every hill, which is about 2 feet off the ground. It's good enough to check in at number 16 on this list. Number 15. Revolution's Loop. The historical significance of this loop will live on forever, being the first one on a modern coaster when it opened in 1976. Revolution is a very mild ride that makes great use of its terrain, and I think it's enjoyable. Lots of good sized drops, a nice helix finale, but I have to come back to that loop as the highlight of the ride. The drop into the loop is the perfect build-up for what was a big deal 45 years ago. A super gradual way to pick up the speed to make it through that perfectly circular loop. I also like that it's more than halfway through the ride, so the ride doesn't hit its climax right off the bat. Kind of like how Son of Beast did it. Number 14. Goliath's Floater Hill. People who love intensity will point to the gray out helix. Even with the train crawling off the mid-course brakes, it's still intense enough to make you lose your vision. But are bone-crushing positive G's fun? Not for everyone. I don't really think so. Goliath's helix would be on a lot of people's lists, and it would be a lot higher on this list ranking all the elements. But since this is my list based on my opinions, the best moment is that floater hill. It's kind of hit or miss though. Sometimes I get a really good pop of sustained floater, other times I get nothing. That's why it's lower on this list. There's not a whole lot to look forward to when riding Goliath. Number 13. Superman Escape from Krypton's Acceleration. Even though I prefer a powerful launch that leaves your stomach in the station, Superman's gradual acceleration provides a different sensation, and it's not a bad thing at all. It takes Superman 7 seconds to crack the 100 mph mark. Whether or not it hits that mark is up for debate, and it may vary day by day, ride by ride. The launch track is about 700 feet long, and from the station all the way to the climb up the tower, you're picking up speed, and you feel the car going faster and faster before you go vertical. It's a cool feeling, and not something you're gonna find anywhere else. Number 12. Riddler's Revenge's First Loop. On a ride that's full of massive inversions, 2 corkscrews, and even an airtime hill, it was hard to pick the best moment. I chose the 124-foot tall loop that kicks off the ride, wrapping around the lift hill. After that 146-foot drop, the ride rises up into this enormous loop, and it's great to look up and see that lift hill right above your head. Number 11. Scream's Zero-G Roll. On a coaster that has 7 inversions, including interlocking corkscrews, there aren't many exciting moments that you can look forward to. I was excited when this was announced for Magic Mountain, because it was going to be our first conventional Cobra roll. Of course, keeping Deja Vu in mind with that inverted version. But I've grown to not love these inversions that much. Any saving grace for a substandard B&M looper is a Zero-G roll, and Scream is no exception. Between the dive loop and the Cobra roll, there's a Zero-G roll that's full of laterals, and it's an awesome feeling getting pulled all the way around back to the upright position. Number 10. Apocalypse's Speed Hill. The first half of this GCI Woody is full of great moments. The drop is unconventional, but it's awesome in the back row. Off the big turnaround, it has a double down before the tunnel, and then there's the station flyby. But the best moment is the speed hill that goes under the exit bridge before the big turnaround. Not only is this an awesome visual moment because you can see the train coming right at you, but it's the best moment of airtime on the ride. That's not saying much, but the train is flying through it, and that's the moment of the ride that I look forward to the most. Number 9. Gold Rusher's Helix Finale. The original coaster at Magic Mountain is still going strong 50 years later, working the terrain of the hillside. It's got a nice swooping drop off the first lift, but most of the second half is straight track, rocky transitions, a lot of meandering, but it's all setting up for the epic finale. It's a long helix that spirals down to the ground level, picking up speed the whole time, before popping up into the station to end the ride. In the front, you may even get a decent pop of airtime over this hill, but the whole train can enjoy the helix, which takes the intensity up to an 11 compared to the rest of the ride. Number 8. Viper's Double Corkscrews. The last Arrow Mega Looper has two distinct sections. The first half is all about speed and intensity. A great 171-foot drop followed by 3 rapid-fire loops before the mid-course, which kicks off a second half which is all about hang time. It crawls through the Batwing, and then hits a set of trim brakes before sliding into the double corkscrew finale. These perfectly circular back-to-back inversions that provide great hang time. Even for people who hate the ride for being rough and having bad transitions, these corkscrews are perfectly crafted and beautiful. Number 7. Batman the Ride's Corkscrews. This small-scale B&M invert is only 105 feet tall, but its small elements are taken at a breakneck speed, 2 loops and a 0G roll. It does slow down a bit on that wide turnaround, but it dives into the final 2 inversions, a pair of super intense corkscrews that feels like they're gonna rip your feet off. I may not be the biggest fan of intensity on sit-down coasters, but I love it on inverted coasters. These corkscrews made my top 10 list of most intense elements I've ever experienced. Number 6. Ninja's Swooping Drop Over the Water. Ninja has a huge advantage of starting at the top of the mountain and having a lot of room to work with to get all the way down to the bottom. It starts winding its way down little by little, but it reaches critical mass when it dives all the way down to Jetstream's lake, coming inches from the water, hitting its top speed of 55 miles per hour. Aerodynamics made perfect use of the layout and the lake for this one moment near the end of the ride, to offer one truly thrilling moment of an otherwise mild family coaster. Number 5. Tatsu's Scenic Turnaround. I know, the pretzel loop. Put this in the same category as Goliath's Helix. If you're into bone-crushing G-forces, this is the moment for you, and it may be in your top 2 or 3 in the park. This moment is insane, but it's not my favorite. Tatsu is a flying coaster, and it does a great job simulating the act of flying, taking place high over Magic Mountain. The best example of this is the final turn over the Magic Mountain Plaza, high over that iconic fountain. It looks great from the ground, but when you're riding it, you get a great view from about 100 feet off the ground, and it really feels like you're flying over the front of the park. Number 4. Full Throttle's Loop. For a short ride, there were a lot of options for the best element. I would consider the launch out of the tunnel, after the reverse section, as well as the final drop off the top of the loop. But I'm giving the honor to what once was the world's tallest loop at 160 feet. It's funny looking at this loop, located pretty close to the original loop on Revolution, both white in color, but Full Throttle's is just enormous in comparison. After the launch, the train goes straight into this massive thing, and it slows down to a crawl at the top. If your lap bar isn't down all the way, you feel that hang time as you start falling out of your seat. And the weirdest thing is when you feel that seatbelt holding you in. Also, you get to see the whole park upside down as you crawl through the loop, and wonder if you're gonna get stuck or even roll back. I haven't seen either of these things happen, but maybe one day. Number 3. West Coast Racers High Five. For as many moments as West Coast Racers has, not a lot of them stand out. The white side has a great stall and then the drop into the second launch track. The yellow side has that intense helix and final corkscrew. But one element stands out above the rest, and that's the high five. They're intense on both sides, but the best ejector airtime is on the white side. It propels you out of your seat and into your comfort collar, which isn't comfortable at all. But when you talk about insane off-the-wall moments, this is a great one, and something nobody expected when West Coast Racers opened. Number 2. Twisted Colossus's Blue Camelback. This one simple element makes another one of my videos. We've seen it on my favorite airtime moments video, my favorite RMC moments video, the strongest airtime moments video, and now here. Twisted ejector hills have their place, but sharp, straight-on, powerful ejector hills are so great. Of all the great airtime moments on Twisted Colossus, the only one that comes close is that hill right before the high fives. Some people will also point towards the Top Gun stall as the highlight of the ride, and although that may be my favorite inversion ever, the Blue Camelback is my favorite element on the ride. Number 1. X2's First Drop. This thing is out of this world, a near vertical drop of 215 feet, while you're hanging off the side of the track, falling face first and flipping onto your back at the bottom. This is number 1, and it's not close. Alan Schilke is an evil genius for devising a drop like this, and it was so innovative for its time. Of all the great coasters being introduced at the turn of the millennium, Arrow's contribution to this coaster war was by far the most insane. Even though it didn't work out great for Arrow, having to file for bankruptcy shortly after, we still get to enjoy this ride 2 decades later, and the drop is absolutely the highlight. It's the best element in the park, and one of the best elements of all time. That's a wrap for the best element on all the operating coasters at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Let me know what you think of my choices here, and what you would change. I know some of them are controversial, especially the fact that I didn't pick Goliath's Helix or Tatsu's Pretzel Loop, but this is my personal preference, as is the case with just about every countdown on this channel. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like. That's the best way to show your support for the channel. And if you're new here and love coasters, and things getting ranked up, be sure to subscribe for more content just like this. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.